Alright, hey, how y'all doing, man? My name is A1. My dog is right here, man. Real name's Colton Cathy. Dog. He happy to get in from this cold. I just want to explain some things to you all. Hopefully I'm going to do a video every year so I can see growth. Last year I had, I think, a Corvette and a Jeep and I think a Porsche. Something like that. Now I have 11 cars, or I think 10 to 11. I don't know. I have to sit down and count them. And I have 3 businesses versus when I had 1 and I expanded. That was in a year time span where I had $200 to start off with, and every year it was a huge growth. But it's people that had trust funds and all types of things that I've surpassed laps over. I'm gonna explain some things. That's the reason I say time over money. 2 things: money can buy you something, but experience is typically learned through time. I personally been working for 4 going on 5 years every day versus somebody who working a 9 to 5, 5 days a week. I worked every day from the time I got up to the time I laid back down for 5 years. Typically, every time I woke up, I was going to go do something. Like I'm about to go do something now after I do this video. This is one of the things on my to-do list. Every day, I woke up and I did something, and I tried to better my life. Understand that when I had a 9 to 5, I understood that that was temporary because the particular 9 to 5 that I had, I didn't enjoy. I was at Sonic, I worked at a gas station, and I worked at the movies. The movies was pretty cool. That was my last job. I initially wanted to be a tattoo artist at the age of 16. That's when I got my first tattoo. My mom went crazy when I got my first tattoo. But I knew then that's what I wanted to do. Everybody wanted me to go to school and things. I lost a lot of interest in school. But I did research. Research is key to anything you want to do. Don't ever just jump into something without knowing what you're getting into. Understand that that is probably one of the most important, if not the most important things before you even start your journey to going into your dreams. I did research while the whole time I was in high school. 17, that whole year I was just doing research. I used to be a person to get Jordans every week that they came out, period. I used to sell them myself, so I used the extra money to get me a pair. I saved all that. That's when I got my first job, and I started working at Sonic. Got a little car note. The tattoo apprenticeship was coming. I went to talk to them. They told me the requirements, which I already had been reading about, and I told my mom this is what I wanted to do. So, at the start of my apprenticeship, I'm not gonna go too detailed. A lot of people know my story about my apprenticeship. They ended up firing me because they said I wasn't good enough, basically. And that was about 10 months. I spent about 10 months there, and my mom was like, "What are you gonna do?" So I asked her, I begged and pleaded. I was like, "Mom, I learned some stuff. I'm gonna have to figure out some stuff by myself, but can I tattoo in your house and pierce in your house?" And my mom wasn't, feeling it like that. But she eventually gave in and was like, "Okay, I'll let you do it." All right, well, I saved enough money, and I also had 2 other jobs at this point in time. Around this time, I was getting about an average of 3 to 5 hours of sleep. An average worker, before I get in that, an average worker works 40 hours. That's like a typical, thing for a week. I've been working probably a minimum of 70 hours since I was 18 to get to my dream. So I'm working about twice, as hard as most people, a minimum. Now keep in mind, I say more than that, but I say a minimum. It's never been under 70 hours I've worked in a week since I started my dream. That's not overtime. That's my lowest amount of time I spent on my dreams a week. One of the jobs let me go because I was just constantly falling asleep in it, and I don't blame them. That was the gas station job. I was constantly falling asleep and things like that, and I saved enough money, so I was like, I'm about to get my own spot. Got a super small apartment. I practiced the professionalism in my place of business, which was my apartment at this time, so I wouldn't pick up any bad habits of when I wanted to get a place. I had to train myself because I knew if nobody else was going to train me, my apprenticeship didn't work out, I had to train myself. Took myself serious because nobody else would. I would wake up every day and I go pass out some cards. I spent $50 on 1,000 cards, and I knew the statistics of it. I was like, man, if I can pass out at least 1,000 cards and at least 5% of them people come to me, then that's still at least 50 people. People used to throw my cards on the ground. People used to, man, say, man, I ain't coming to no house artist. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that, man. So, okay, well, you're not going to respect it. And I used to, just keep passing out cards. I did that. I saved some more money. And I was like, I want to get a tattoo shop. I had, upgraded my equipment to the best I could, afford at the time. I was like, I want to get a tattoo shop. I don't want to, I practice the business. I've had enough clientele. It's time for me to take a chance. I had gotten a car wreck. The day I had gotten a car wreck, I had somebody call me and say, man, we want you to, look at this place. So you call me back. I called him back happy and everything, man. My insurance, came through. And I was like, man, I used some of my car money to get the place, because it was a little higher than I thought. But at this point, I was broke again. I actually got robbed at my tattoo shop. I didn't tell anybody about it because I knew it would be bad for my business to do it, but to explain it to people. But I got robbed when I first opened my tattoo shop, man, at gunpoint. And, so I came to my shop the next day, and my face was like crazy swollen. I almost shut, and I still was tattooing, man. It's, I needed it. I was hungry for it. I knew I was hungry for it. I knew if I didn't do it, then nobody else do it. My bill's not gonna be paid if I don't do it. So they're like, I got a little business, so I'm doing good. All right, I wanted some workers. I had to think about to myself, how can I reach 6 figures? Because I was doing good, especially, for my age. I was like 20 at this point in time. Like, it was, all my money depended on me acting. I had to actually do something to get this money. And I was reaching, good numbers. I was doing like 60 to, 70,000. Well, that was like, good numbers. But I couldn't hit 6 figures. I used to sell things when I was younger. A lot of things I'm doing now, I actually did when I was younger, and I'm doing it now that I'm older. And I perfected it. After getting robbed, stole from, and just constantly losing, I've learned how to, finally make it work. It saved like $4,000, and I was like, man, I needed a computer. What made me want to do it was I needed a computer and do have 4. So I was like, man, if you give me all 4, I'll give you this amount of money. I had spent like, $2,500 or $3,000 or something like that. I got all 4. And I was like, I'm gonna sell one, I'm gonna keep one, and that'll pay for this computer and have a little extra over. Man, I sold all of them and broke all of them. So, and shipping, well, really USPS broke all of them. And I lost most of my money. And I did it again. I always do it again. Money, and I invested in some phones and stuff, what I could afford at this point in time, because I lost most of my money. And I sold them. Finally, at the point of doing some more tattoos too, because I'm doing both. There's no ever stopping of doing one thing. I always continue to do something else. Start buying more stuff. Now I'm getting the word out. I'm buying phones. I was buying like cheap stuff too, because it's what I could afford. I expanded my tattoo shop to make it the biggest. But now I'm still the only person here. I want you to understand that. I raised my security and all this stuff because I didn't want anything to happen to my employees and things like that, like it happened to me. So I expanded, and it took a lot of my money. So I had $1,500. I invested it all. Like, I just like, man, if I lose it all, I'm just gonna have to save again and do it again. Finally came back. I made $3,300, and I finally, figured out a rhythm to doing it. I'm making 6 figures. I was making 6 figures then. Okay, so I was like, man, I finally touched, 100,000, man. I'm good. I couldn't find employees, so I was like, in order for me to get employees that I actually want or I approve of, I had to teach them. So my first apprentice came, it didn't work. My second apprentice came, it didn't work. Third apprentice came, he's actually with me to this day. And I was training him. Then another apprentice came, and I was training her. And I built a relationship with them. And I took them through some of the trials that I went through to see their loyalty and see if they really wanted it. They showed their commitment, and they with me to this day. Made some more money off that. But also more importantly, I gained people that I can trust, because they went through a trial phase with me, and I trusted them. So I trust them to do hardly anything to this day. Now I'm saving enough money to do what I want to do. I'm like, man, at least what I want to do at the time. So I'm like, all right, well, okay, I want a Corvette. The Corvette just came out, man. I was like, man, I wasn't even that big into cars, believe it or not. I was like, man, I just want this. I want that Corvette, man. I'd be the youngest one with it, man. I was like, man, I want to have. Told myself I could have bought it when I first sat in it in Memphis, but I was like, man, nah, the price not right. I can. If I wait, I can save a lot of money. And I'm not a person that's gonna waste money just to waste it. That Corvette mean more to me than any car I have to this day, because it was a start to me mentally. It really, it unlocked so much in me. To see, I cried, when I got that car. A lot of people wanted, people twice my age was like, man, I would love to have a car, I couldn't afford it and stuff like that. And I was like, I did this. I was like 21. And, I was like, man, okay, cool. Now I'm still making six figures, so I'm still doing good. I have, plenty of extra money left over. Well, a decent amount of extra money left over. So I was like, man, I want a Jeep too. Keep in mind, I haven't really bought nothing for myself in like 3 years since I started my dream. So I'm like, man, now I'm like, I got enough money to buy myself something. I haven't really spent money on myself in so long. But I'm a person that used to buy everything I want when I was in high school for myself. So I sacrificed that for 3 years, or 2 years, 2.5 years at this time. So I was like, man, I finally want to, do something. So somebody pointed me in the direction of somebody who can give me a Jeep cheaper if I pay cash. And I was thinking to myself, just like with the computers, I was like, man, if I get this Jeep, I can really sell it if I do this and that. And that's how, and then they kind of led me into getting cars. I'm making, a little bit here and there, just kind of get my nose wet. I'm making some mistakes, just like with all my businesses. But I'm learning and finding what time does for you. I'm working, twice as hard, where people will learn one thing in a week. I'm learning 3 things in a week because I'm working, twice or 3 times as long as them. So I'm learning it faster. I'm putting way more overtime than y'all. I reached another quota in my financial gain. So I'm like, man, yeah, I'm doing real good. So I bought some more cars. I sold some. It was harder for me. I was like, man, at the prices, I'm selling some cars way cheaper than other people, but they selling their cars faster. How is this possible? Because I know my cars, they nicer, in my opinion, and I'm being honest with myself. I think they nicer. It's like I can have a Porsche for $40,000 and somebody have it for $70,000. If I say give me the $40,000 right now cash, a lot of people didn't have $40,000 to give. But the $75,000 or $70,000, they say put $6,000 down, they'll sell their car faster. But somebody really paying $30,000 to $35,000 more. And I said, okay, cool. So I see that. So now I had to figure out that formula. I had to talk to people, figure out what I had to do. I have a little bit of spare time. I never really liked spare time. When I have spare time to myself, I'm like, nah, man, this not really working. So I can be doing something with this time. It's still a time for me where I need to create some. My rest of my life and the rest of my family will be straight. So I'm like, man, I get spare time. But then I thought about it. I was like, man, what's something here? And I thought about shoes. I had plenty of shoes. I've been had shoes since I was high school. Remember I explained to you, I used to get shoes all the time. You seeing a lot of the stuff that I'm redoing is stuff that I wanted to do, or I was doing when I was a child. Just buying as much shoes as I could, things like that. And just, giving them quote. First it started off slow. I was a little iffy. I was like, man, I don't know, man, but I'm gonna keep on going. I'm always gonna keep going. And then it finally started selling. I sold on this site and that I was not familiar with, and it sold. And I was like, oh man, that was cool. Some of my employees that work for me today, I was like, man, if I can clean the shoes or whatever, I can make more money because they'd be in better condition. So I talked to one of my friends in high school. Actually, I haven't been talking to him in a long time, but I was like, man, if you clean these shoes for me for half the price that you normally charge, I give you a bundles of shoes, and when I open up a store, I'll let you, be in my store. At this point, I had credibility because I have 2 businesses, so it's not like I'm just talking out the side of my neck. Versus telling somebody that and you don't have nothing to show for your vision. I already had 2 visions that was working, so I want to explain that to y'all before y'all trying to tell people things. Y'all have to get things going before you start wanting people to understand your vision, I should say. He was like, okay, cool, I do it. First he was like, I don't know. And we even talk about this to this day. Like, he was like, man, I'm glad I accepted it. He did it. All right, so I'm cleaning shoes. I'm selling them for like, $20, $30 higher. Well, I'm not cleaning them. He's cleaning them. Tattooing season sped up. So I'm still tattooing and my electronics, I'm ripping and running. And a lot of this stuff, I was making mistakes because I had so much stuff going on, man. I'm sending packages to the wrong place. I'm getting confused with my appointments. I'm missing appointments. You know, I'm leaving when customers coming in. I was feeling, you know, like, damn, man, you know, my whole thing is customer satisfaction. So I'm upset with myself. I had my 2 tattoo artists help me out with some stuff too. As again, I told you that I can trust them. I was like, I saved enough money. I'm doing good. I was like, man, my mom always been there for me. So I bought her a fiscal chroma. So.
You got you another one, huh?
Well, I got you something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like one of the best things, you know, I did. I bought some jewelry and stuff a while back, but she was so happy. And nowadays, like, she drives the fiscal chroma, but I had so many cars, she drive them all. I consider all of them hers, man, whatever she wants. But that was really mental, you know, unlocking for me too, to be able to do that for my mom. But I bought a real big boy, the McLaren. I was gonna get the Lamb or you know, the Hurricane or something like that. But I rarely see McLaren, so I was like, man, I want to get something different. So I got the McLaren, and I was like, man, police stuff had happened, you know, and folks was bashing me and all that type of stuff. Now knowing that shit, I've been working since I was able to work. That was like, man, it made me go to another level. This just kind of turned me up to just like, all right, well, no stopping here. We're gonna keep doing more. So I went on and started taking the steps to get my store, and my shoe store. I bought 3 cars just to show off principle, man. Like, I can do it, man. You know, y'all seen me build from scratch, and now you can't say anything to me. It cost me a lot of money too. You know, the same amount of money I made, it's probably the same amount of money I lost. I didn't do anything wrong. You know, I just have to move smarter, and that's just is what it is. Things, man. Y'all be safe. Probably another video when I get some more time. I actually have to do some errands, and this dog is just, you know, he's not feeling it. He needs his time. All right, y'all be safe.